and welcome to Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and today is February 9th, 2021. As always, we're coming live from the Sirius Star System studios right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I hope all is well with everybody. So we have a clothes drive coming up this Saturday, February 13th, and as always, I ask you guys to donate whatever you can. If you guys can donate clothes, jackets, shoes, blankets, bags, whatever you guys can give, we can use it. And remember, all of our donations always go directly to people on the street and families in need as well. So we make absolutely no profit off this. If you don't have clothes but you still want to help out, you can always donate to our GoFundMe link that will be found on our Spirit Communities Facebook page. You can find that at facebook.com/Spirit Communities, and then in the About section you'll see the GoFundMe link. So please donate. We are going to have a Valentine's Day clothes drive and help out people in need, as we do every month. Last month we weren't able to do it because it was January and it was just so busy with everything, work and everything, so we wanted to push it till February. But we want to make sure we have enough clothes and donations to give so that the people in need really get the stuff that they need. So anyways, on Valentine's Day, it is coming up on the 14th, so if you celebrate it, happy Valentine's Day. I do not, I'm not a big holiday person, but I know some of you do. And just remember, though, for those of you that are single, that you don't need a relationship to be happy. I know some of these Hallmark holidays sometimes, put in our mind that we need to be that we got to be with somebody and we got to, in order for us to be happy. But no, you can celebrate Valentine's Day being by yourself and being who you are, and that is the most important gift. And if you are in a relationship, I wish you guys the best year ever. So, all right, guys, as always, we are coming live from Facebook, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. I always mess up Twitter for some reason. Twitch, Twitter, they sound so similar. Periscope, LinkedIn, and Daily Motion, and all the replays will be in the link below. So, guys, I am so excited about today's show because we have an amazing guest, and this man, I've had a few conversations with him, and I got to meet him, and just such a very inspirational person. Sensei Dave Armstrong, a motivational speaker, life coach, and at-risk youth expert, grew up as a product of a broken family in foster care and youth correctional facilities. His mom passed away at the age of 13. After overcoming all these obstacles in life and define his destiny, he decided to serve humanity by dedicating 20 plus years towards helping people better live their lives and their relationships with their children or their children that they work with. After Sensei Dave retired after 24 years of active duty military service, he has decided to open Unlimited Potential Network Academy Life Coaching and publish his amazing motivational autobiography, Why Me? My Fight for Life, which is now available on Amazon. So please help me welcome Dave Armstrong.
Woo! And the crowd goes wild. Miss Raina, thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate it. To all your listeners, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I hope that the clothes drive that you're doing next week goes really well. And because you didn't do it in January, they have to double up in February. So even more, you got to make up for lost time, right? Absolutely. So double up, give, do your best. I love the fact that you're doing that for people that are in need. It's really important. really, really important.
Thank you. And I like how you say double up on everything.
Yeah.
Because, there are people that, we are very blessed in our lives to have what we have. And of course, you and I both had rough paths getting to where we are. And that's one of the things, the reason why I have you on the show, because your story is so inspirational. But there are people that don't have that inspirational story because they're where they're at in their life. And yes, it is very important that all of us take part and make who we are.
Yeah. Well, we were one of those people that didn't have an inspirational story at some point.
Yes.
When you're going through that, you're not very inspired. It's when you get past that light at the end of the tunnel and you look back and you go, that was a dark place, but look at I could smell the grass, right? The grass is greener on the other side. It's nice now. But when you're going through, it can be hard. And you get great shows like yours, great motivational people like I think, and sometimes just the little things can pull you through a really dark place.
Absolutely. So I know who you are, but why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and your backstory?
Well, yeah, as you said, I wrote a book, and the book, Why Me, My Fight for Life, is about it's an autobiography. It's about my life, but it's really far more than that. I wrote it because I knew that the things that I had been through, other people could go through or be going through, and I wanted them to be able to see or read and go, wow, there's hope. There's a light at the end of that dark tunnel, because I'll tell you, when you're in that darkness, it gets pretty pitch black. You can't see your end in front of you. When you're trying to kill yourself, as I did when I was a kid, I didn't see a light. Not at all. So yeah, I grew up in California. I think my childhood was pretty normal when I was a little kid,
Yes.
until my mom met my stepdad. I think we had a normal relationship. I don't think we had much money, but you can't remember much when you're,
So
six,
yeah.
7, 8 years old. Yeah, but I do remember her marrying this guy, and he was okay at first, like most people are. That you put your best foot forward when you're in a relationship, but then the ugly truth sometimes comes out, and he was just abusive, just a nasty, abusive person to my mom, to me. He would give me these knuckle sandwiches. He would put his
Oh,
knuckle out like this and hit me, bah, 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 on the top of my head. And boy, it kind of forced me to not want to be around the house,
yes.
and so nobody wants to stay around abuse. So the logical thing is to try to escape from that. So my escape was the streets. My escape was the hood, and the bad neighborhood, the bad people that were living in the neighborhood. So of course you're a product of your environment,
Yeah.
and I just gravitated towards that lifestyle, the gang lifestyle, the drugs. I never did drugs, but selling drugs. You just gravitated towards that because that's what you knew, and that's what was around you, and it was your escape from the reality of your life. And so my first arrest was when I was 11 years old for armed robbery. I tried to rob a lady at gunpoint. Um, got arrested. Got taken away from the house at some point after that. Um, in and out of juvenile detention, foster homes, group homes, until I was about 18. And the unfortunate thing is when you're 18 years old and you grow up in the system.
Yeah.
Oh, in the midst of all that, my mom passed away.
Yes.
So she died when I was about 13 years old. I was in a boys' camp at the time, and it was it was traumatic because I didn't have any other family. So after I got out of the boys' camp, I was sentenced there for 2 years. After I got out, I didn't have anyone to take care of me. I didn't have anywhere to go. So you're in and out of juvenile detention, foster homes, group homes, all of this stuff, and it's unfortunate for a young man or a young woman to be absolutely and totally alone. Have nothing, yeah, nothing, no hope. I tell people when I do speeches that the worst type of person is the person that doesn't have any hope whatsoever, because that person doesn't care. And I didn't care about you as a human being because I didn't care about myself.
Absolutely.
So, so why do I care if I beat you up, if I rob you, if I stomp on your face? I didn't care. And I was pretty violent, very violent. And so, you know, it was hard to become something from that, to change your destiny. And I talk a lot about defying my destiny because you're just kind of born into the situation that you're in, or thrown into different situations, and you got to figure something out. Or you just succumb to that situation and become a product of your environment. And unfortunately, statistically, most of us are. So yeah, I went from group home, boys home, juvenile detention, end up meeting two people that absolutely changed my life. My martial arts instructor and my guardian at Litem. Guardian ad litem is like a big brother that the court appoints, and he would take me out on trips, invite me over to his house for Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that. And he was the reason why I joined the Air Force. And my Cintheano, my martial arts instructor, is the reason why I got into martial arts. And martial arts saved my life. And I ended up opening three martial arts schools in California, Hawaii, and Colorado.
Wow.
And yeah, and boy, I've been able to do so much with the martial arts and the schools and impact so many lives. I had a mentoring program for at-risk youth, martial arts mentoring program. The state would let me go pick up kids from juvenile detention, foster homes, group homes, take them to my martial arts school, do some training, right? Get them all exhausted, and then we did some mind training. Then we did some mentoring, and I was fortunate enough to change a lot of those young men's lives. So yeah, then for that, fast forwarding to 24 years in the Air Force, and then I retired, fell in love with Greece, and fell in love in Greece. So my wife is Greek,
Oh,
and yeah, and I love the country. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna sell the martial arts schools and retire here.
but a couple weeks ago we
Yeah,
had a show on home violence and abuse and everything, and it's amazing. One of the things we were talking about, it's amazing how abuse and coming from a broken home, as they say, affects our mindset and affects our personality and how we view and how we not only view life but act out in life. And so many people a lot of times have that issue where you turn to the streets, you turn to your friends, you turn to people that you don't know because it's some sort of comfort. It's some sort of it's almost like the mentality. It's better to belong to something than nothing. And I see that a lot. And you and I have similar stories in that
yeah,
area.
yeah.
But for that, because I went into the gangs too when I was young and did a lot of terrible things. But at the same time, it taught me to do a lot of things. And I went into martial arts as well, and that kind of corrected me in a lot of ways because it taught me discipline. It taught me how to not just use that anger and aggressiveness that I had inside me, but channel it into healthier ways where we're able to grow in ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, martial arts is it's just tremendous, and it can play such a vital role. If you
Yes,
have the right instructor and the right environment there in the dojo or dojo, um, it can change a young man or a young woman's life.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
How
Yeah.
this is kind of like a basic question, but I mean from not having a father to all of a sudden losing your mom at such a young age and then being propelled into a foster care system, was that the start of the suicidal tendencies, or were they progressing beforehand?
No, it was absolutely right when the only time I tried to kill myself is right when my mom died.
Okay.
Um, And I just, when you're totally void of anything, when you have absolutely nobody like to rely on, to love you, to care about you, to look at you and say, hey, you know what? You look like you need a hug today. When you don't have that, you just kind of go, well, why bother?
Yes,
You
correct.
know, at 13 years old, I'm like, you know, why bother? I'm gonna quickly read something. I have, ironically, that part in my book opened up right here, and I'll read just a little bit of it.
Okay.
Without my mom, I became even more destructive. I didn't care about myself. I certainly didn't care about anyone else. I mean, why bother?
Yeah.
What is there to live for when you have nothing and no one in your life? I remember feeling so sad, so desperate, so alone. One evening, I thought, a day or two after my mom died, I decided to run away from the boys' camp and end my life. I decided not to go to the boys' camp after school. Instead, I went wandering around the city aimlessly in the pouring rain. I was so numb, just numb to life, numb to the world, to my very existence. I ended up under a bridge, shaking from the cold and crying so much I just couldn't do anything else. I remember the pouring rain like it was yesterday, pounding on my hard face as I cried uncontrollably. I just wanted to know that things would be okay, but I knew they would not be okay. Everything seemed so wrong. I felt so alone, so ashamed, so sorry, so alone. I that I fell as all I wanted to do was fall asleep and not wake up. So I grabbed a bottle that was sitting next to me, and I smashed it, and I just started cutting my wrist,
Oh wow.
and I just cut deep and deep. It was almost like I couldn't feel anything. I just kept cutting and cutting. And the truth is, I felt like a failure even more because I couldn't even kill myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't die. I couldn't kill myself. There I am, all bloodied up, trying to walk back to this boys' camp. And I'm like, I don't want to live and I can't even die.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very hard for us to understand because you're right when we're in that mindset where we see life as such an empty type of perception, it really makes us feel like, hey, this is our only option. And when we fail it even at that, we're like, geez, how terrible am I? How bad at everything am I?
WTF? I
Yeah.
can't even kill myself.
Yeah. But you know
Yeah,
what a blessing it really turned out to be because I mean, obviously you and I both know we're here for a reason, and I've tried to commit suicide three
absolutely.
times, and I felt like it. I was like, wow, this is great. I understand that, but for the people
Mm.
that do get that chance to survive and make it past there, it's just so wonderful that you took that pain and you took all that stuff and made something of it. But you know what, Dave? We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after these messages from I Am Evolution.
The human experience is changing, and consciousness is evolving into something higher than any of us could ever imagine. As we transform into more sentient beings, a new world of connected consciousness is taking place. Welcome to I Am Evolution, the movement in human development that transforms the human experience into a deeper consciousness through perspective and duality. Are you ready to be a part of the next stage in human evolution? Call I Am Evolution today to schedule your appointment at 561 318 0006. That's 561 318 06. Or email us at iamevolution@protonmail.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. If you're just joining us, this is the start of the second half, and we have the amazing Dave Armstrong here. And Dave, we are, your background and your story so far has just been such a wild ride, but it leads you to such great inspiration. And I noticed that one of the things that upon listening to you and reading your webpage and everything and following you is that you always talk about why and having a why in your life. Can you kind of explain what that means?
Yeah, I think that it's so important to try things in life. It's so vitally important to try new things, to discover the things that you like, to discover the things that you don't like, and why you like those and why you don't like those, and to just continuously examining life, not just being a spectator, just in the game of life, just doing
Yeah.
every day. And you don't need money to do that. You just need the mindset to do that. You need the habit to do that. And so when you develop the habit, the muscle memory, the mindset of constantly going, I want to try, I want to try, I want to do, I want to try, I want to try, I want to do, I want to try, I want every single day, I want to learn, I want to, and this doesn't stop. And then you start discovering your why. You'll find something that just goes into your soul, right? Just resonates with you so deeply, and you're like, this is why I'm on the planet. This is I like to make cakes. I love to eat cakes. I like to make cakes. I'm a caker, right? I am a caker. I am the cake lady Raina. The end. No, your why can be anything. It's just trying to figure it out, right? Just trying to go through life and figure it out. And when you get that aha moment, hoo-wee, it's you're like, wow. So my why was martial arts. My why was martial arts because it saved my life. I was great at it. I would go to tournaments and win. The self confidence that it instilled, the intrinsic value that I had for everything martial arts was just wow. Different level. Wow. Okay, I could make a cake like Raina, Miss Raina, the cake baker.
I can't bake, so so I don't think you want to be
No.
baking like me because I can't bake.
Well, so fine, okay. so so finding your why in life is so important.
Yes.
And it could be that pivotal moment that you go from mediocre or from unhappy to ecstatic and joyful when you wake up and you're like, I get to do my why today.
Yes.
No more going to, I gotta go to work. And even and something that I don't like, I see commercials all the time, quit your day job and go work for yourself. Everyone doesn't need to be a business person. Everyone doesn't have to have their own business. Everyone doesn't, like, that's just BS. It's okay if you want to go to work, make a bunch of money, make a little bit of money, whatever it is, and have your why somewhere else in your bubble of life, right?
Yes.
It's okay. The point is to find your why first.
Yes.
If you can live your why 24/7, okay, then you're on cloud nine, right? But just finding your why, millions of people, billions of people never find their why. They go through an entire life never finding their why. So that's the why part. And I'll tell you, even when you find your why, so my why was arts. I was able to impact lives. I was able to make great money. I was able to do all kinds of things with martial arts. And then I couldn't do it anymore. I had a broken spine.
Ah.
My L4, L5, no disc in between, right? Bone on bone, like this. My L4 was like this over, no, L5, sorry, was like this over my S1.
Yes.
Boom.
That's
And
so
so I
painful.
had it sucked. I couldn't walk for 20 minutes before surgery. Now, okay, I'm a little better. It sucks big time. I can never do my Y again.
Ah.
How depressing is that? So here's this guy that found his why, right? Amongst the billions of people on the, I was able to find my why, and then I lost it.
Ah.
So I was depressed for a couple of years. I was depressed for 2 years because I'm in pain. I'm taking pain pills all day, right? I can't sit for more than 20 minutes. I can't walk for more than 20 minutes. I'm always hurting. And then finally I gave in. I tried holistic medicine. I tried kinesiologist, physical therapist. I tried all sorts of things before I said, okay, I have to have somebody cut into my back
Yeah.
and manipulate my spine and nail screws and screw, and put rods in.
And that's a big
And yeah,
yeah.
oh, I was afraid, and I don't think I've been afraid of anything in my life, but I was afraid of the surgery because not of dying. I'm not afraid of dying whatsoever because we're all going to do that. We all get to do that, no matter who you are.
That's
I'm afraid of not being able to live, and like something goes wrong. I'm in a wheelchair, then I got to figure out. But you know what? I figured out a new why. I dug my heels in and I said, you know what? I've been helping people, teens, all my life. Why can't I continue to do that? Why can't, and that's when I opened up Unlimited Potential Network, is because I'm like, I want to be the best motivational speaker and the best life coach on the planet. That's what I want because I know the value that I can give, right? I can change your life with some of just a snippet of the things that I've been through, combined with the knowledge and the educational background. So I went and enrolled in a psychology program with life coaching undergrad, and just did so much studying and researching, and
well,
just to be.
the funny thing about this is that there you mentioned a few things, and I want to touch on them because I think it's important that most people go through life and they can't find their why or their purpose, whatever you want to call it. And it's the reason why is because we're so conditioned in life. We're taught. I know that I was told that like I had a family business and I was brought into it, and it was like, okay, this is your life, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it was
Yeah.
like, what do you mean this is what I'm supposed to be doing? I have no choice in the matter. And as much as I loved my family business, it was already made for me. And there's a lot of people that may not have that same option, but we're taught that you're supposed to go to school, then high school, college, you're supposed to find something that you like to do, and then work your whole life. You're supposed to get married, and you're supposed to have all these things. And there's a plan out there for you. And you're so busy trying to learn history and math and social studies and English that how can you ever figure out who you are? Life doesn't prepare us for the whys and the purposes. It prepares us for the money, to make money and to be financially sound. And unfortunately, we go through life, and that's one of the things that I ask people when they're trying to figure out their help is I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Who are you? What do you like to do? What are your interests? And they sit there and they say, well, I don't know my interest. I don't know what my interest is.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, how are you going to figure out who you are if you don't know the interest? I mean,
Yep.
and it doesn't mean
Yep.
like what you do is who you are, because those are two different things. But I think
Hmm.
what is great about what you did and what you do is that not only did you find why once, but then life said, okay, well, you found this and we have other plans for you. So now we're
Yeah.
going to make you see, we're going to test you again and see if you can find it again. Because I think the important message here is to make people understand that there could be more than one why.
Oh gosh, yeah. You could have hundreds of whys in your life. The more you try, the more you can have, right? The
That's
more whys you can have in your life. It's funny you start talking about growing up and the way we're raised, right? I'm not plugging my program, but I just finished developing this program to mentor and coach parents of teens, right?
oh nice.
So yeah, and so one thing that I'm looking, and of course I've been influencing young men and young women for 20 years. But I start thinking about it. I said, well, there's nothing out there for parents, right? There's no parent handbook. But and even if there was, it wouldn't work because everybody's so different,
Yes,
right?
yes,
But
yes.
you started saying some things, and so my training program is a 12-month program, right? And
Yeah.
every month there's a new topic, and we do some Zoom sessions. We have some slides and all of this. And I will tell you, The first one is on behavior, right? The first month behavior. Second month, goal setting. Third month, getting involved. Fourth month, bad friends. Fifth month, listening and active listening and getting involved with by actually listening to your kid. Hobbies and interests, happiness and fulfillment, grades, values and morals, quality use of time, time management, cyberbullying, social media, and its importance in creating a Y environment. Shouldn't those things be taught in school?
They should absolutely, but they're not because I mean,
No.
well, no. Well, what I'm saying is this is active listening, things about paying attention, should be taught in school because we're not we don't. I mean, how many times do you talk to somebody on the phone and they respond about them not actually answering or not acknowledging what
Oh,
you actually just
oh,
said, and
oh,
right? And so we don't listen. So how can we work on ourselves? How can we find ourselves if we don't listen?
yeah, absolutely. There's so many important things in life that we're not taught, and it's not passed down because our parents and grandparents and great grandparents weren't taught it either. And the truth is, usually we're pretty old when we figure out that there's some really important things in life and connections with people, finding your why, being happy, figuring out what the hell happy means. You
Yes.
know, you know, not this extrinsic like, oh, this is what happy means. When you got 150,000, in the bank, that's when you're happy. No, okay, got it, still unhappy. What's going on? And then you're wondering, well, I'm driving a BMW M3. I got a bunch of women, bunch of guys, power job, and I'm still unhappy. What's
Yes.
really going on?
Yeah.
Well, nobody taught me how to actually explore myself.
Yes.
You know?
But I think it's funny how we lose that connection because all of us were teens at one time, right? I mean, we were all young, and we look at our parents and be like, I'm never gonna be you, I'm never gonna lose that disconnection, and it's funny like where the translation gets lost because you get in your you still feel young. You hit your 30s and kids start looking at you, and it's funny because you lose it. And it's funny that we were once that age and we understood that mind, but our mind changes and our perception of who we are and the life changes. And
Yeah.
it's funny that we lose that connection. And I think that's a very vital thing because, our teenage years are so influential on our development and our growth and where we're going to. I mean, of course, yes, the first 8 years do a lot too, but that teenage years, it really sets us up because those childhood trauma or the childhood issues are now translated into teenage issues. And if we don't learn then how to start working on it, then they translate into adult
Yep.
challenges.
Yep. Yeah. And then we label it as anxiety or
Yes.
PTSD or something else. We get some pills and we think that it's going to go away or, hyperactive disorder and, all of this stuff that, a majority of us don't have. It's just that we haven't figured out how the hell to get over ourselves, get
Absolutely.
over our past, get over the trauma, and trauma happens. The most vital thing you can do in life is to figure out how to get over trauma because it's going to happen whether you like it or not.
Yes.
People run red lights, people text and drive, people die in your family,
Yes.
people are going to cuss you out. These things are going to happen to you, at you. And if you don't figure out how to deal with that stuff, whoa,
But I
you
think
know,
that's the issue, isn't it? We look at it and we don't deal with the problem. We become victimized to these situations. Oh, this happened to me. This is gonna. Oh, you know what? I don't want
yeah.
to date anymore because I always pick the horrible guys or the horrible girls,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always the same song and dance. And I think that's part of finding your why is well, having a why in your life is allowing you to see the past and see what the challenges that we've had at one time, but allow you to see what you're capable as well.
Well, self reflection isn't taught in school.
Yes.
and most likely isn't taught by your parents.
No.
You know, nobody says, "Hey, learn how to meditate a little bit. This is going to really help you like deal with stress,
Yes.
right? Take some me time, some quiet time, right? Learn how to breathe, do some breathing, you know? How many times do we do that a day?
I know.
We don't,
I know.
Our kids don't, certainly. Nobody teaches them that.
And the funny thing is most of us that deal with it, because I grew up with anxiety and PTSD and bipolar because of the past trauma that I had, and I would catch myself not breathing. Like I would literally be like, and then also I'd be like, breathe. And then I'd have to catch up to that breath, and that's actually
Yeah.
stopping you because you're stopping because your first form of life is breath, right? And so, and so not breathing actually. And a lot of people who create this idea of trauma and everything else stop breathing and they don't even know. So absolutely, I think breath handling is very, very healthy for us.
Yeah, just imagine if you were taught that when you were in elementary school.
That'd be
You know, instead of just the Pledge of Allegiance, for some of us older people.
yes, yes.
I don't think our kids can say it now. I don't know, but instead of that or with that, you go, okay, now class, we're gonna do 10 deep breaths. In through your nose.
Yes.
All of that air, take it in. Quiet your mind. Quiet your soul. Breathe it down. What if our teachers did that with us? Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine how many people will never have anxiety because they go, oh, that's a stressor.
Yes.
Oh, now it's not a stressor. It's just an object.
Yes. It's funny. I'm not a big. I like sports. Obviously, I play sports, but I like playing it more than. But the Chicago Bulls did that. Phil Jackson did that, and because I'm from Chicago, and that was one of the biggest things because it was viewed at the time in the early '90s as kind of woo woo because in our country, unfortunately, we look at breathing and meditation as kind of something that, but we're learning to adjust finally. But at the time, it was like, what do you mean you have a bunch of athletes that just sit around the circle and do yoga and breathe and clear their mind, especially before big game. And they would all say, hey, when Phil Jackson used to start doing this, I thought, what is he doing? But it used to prepare us for, because it would take away the stress, take away the anxiety, refocus, and it doesn't matter if it's in sports, it's in trauma, it's in whatever. When you refocus the mind and the body and the heart, you're able to see things clearly.
Yeah, if I don't do my meditation and my breathing every morning,
Yeah.
I notice, and I have zero anxiety, but I notice that I'm not as clear, right?
Yes.
I kind of let the noise, I call it noise, right? Life is noise. And I let the noise kind of get in a little more on the days that I say, oh, I gotta do something else first,
Yes.
And
Yes.
usually I don't. I don't schedule any interviews. I don't do anything before 10 o'clock. And at 9, I get up. I do my coffee, make my coffee. The coffee's brewing. I smell the coffee as I do my exercises, as I meditate, as I do my breathing every morning. And it's nice, it centers you. And
Absolutely.
it could help so many people in such a tremendous way.
Absolutely.
But
Perfect.
these things have to be taught early, not after you've learned how to have anxiety, right, to stressors, because it's a learned behavior. This is not a biological behavior, it's a learned behavior, right? Now bipolarism, that's a neurological behavior, right? Symptom behavior. So, well, symptom, and you end up having a behavior to it, but anxiety is just learned,
Yeah.
and if you validate yourself like anything, right? If you say, okay, I got over it, and this is what I did to get over it. I punched walls, and I hit people, and yelled and cussed and threw my cat across the room,
Yeah.
but now I feel good. And then the next time you have a stressor, right, a trigger, you go, well, the last time I yelled, cussed, punched, threw my cat across the room, so I guess that'll work again.
Yeah.
And then now it's habitual.
Yes.
Now you go, oh, this is what I do when I get upset, right? But that's not what we have to do. It's
Absolutely.
just learned behavior.
Absolutely. That's perfectly said, Dave. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after these messages from I Am
The
Evolution.
human experience is changing, and consciousness is evolving into something higher than any of us could ever imagine. As we transform into more sentient beings, a new world of connected consciousness is taking place. Welcome to I Am Evolution, the movement in human development that transforms the human experience into a deeper consciousness through perspective and duality. Are you ready to be a part of the next stage in human evolution? Call I Am Evolution today to schedule your appointment at 561 318 0006. That's 561 318 0006. Or email us at iamevolution@protonmail.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. If you're just joining us, this is the last part, and we are here with Dave Armstrong. And Dave, I have been having such a wonderful time with you, and you know your story and what you do is so inspirational. And I really think one of the things that I like about what you do is you work with youth, and and we don't get too many people that work with youth a lot, and that's one of the things that I think that people need to start paying attention to, because I think that that's really where it starts. So how did you get into mentoring youth people?
Oh, that's such a cool story. So, I started as a big brother for big brothers and big sisters. And if, for those of you that don't know what Big Brothers and Big Sisters is, it's an organization in the United States that not kind of, it matches a young person with a volunteer of the same gender.
Okay.
So I was matched up with Marcel, and Marcel was my first mentee, my little brother, and I just absolutely loved knowing that my experience and the things that I was trying to bestow on him had an impact, right? And I could see it shaping him and molding him, and it was just like, wow, I'm able to really help this young man, and fill in that, that role model, that father figure role model that all young men should have. Um, and it was just great. I'll tell you a funny story. I'll tell you a quick story. I remember Marcel. Marcel played football,
Okay.
and I remember going to a football game and cheering on Marcel. So here I am on the sidelines. I'm like, "Go Marcel!" And he gets the ball. And I played football all throughout high school, and I'm a big guy. I'm 225, 6 foot, real muscular. And I just, when he got the ball and started running, I started running with him on the sideline, right? And I'm like, go Marcel, go! And he's running with the ball, and I'm running with him. I plow into this little soccer mom.
Ah.
Oh my goodness. I ran I ran her flat over. I mean, I'm talking boom. And I'm like,
Wow.
My bad." I'm so sorry. I,
Did you
but
hurt
I
her?
was no, no, she was fine. I helped her up. Everybody was okay. It was super embarrassing, and but I was so excited for this guy, I was so excited for Marcel, and so that kind of started me on the journey of mentoring and helping young men, and then I was fortunate enough to open up the martial arts schools where you're constantly mentoring and helping people
Yeah.
in general, and then I opened up a program, the martial arts mentoring program, where I would go around and get kids, and that was a hard sell. Trying to sell the state on a program
Yeah.
where you're gonna teach kids that are locked up how to fight.
Yes. Yes.
They're
Yes.
looking at me like, are you okay? Did you smoke something before you come in here, buddy? Come on.
Yes, I can
But
only
I
understand.
knew how this. Oh yeah, it was funny, sitting in there and
Yeah.
they're just bewildered. They're looking at my proposal and they're just like, this guy's serious? Like he's serious. He wants to go pick up our violent offenders and, and take them to a martial arts school where they can all fight. And then he's going to teach them how to fight. And of course, logically, they're questioning me. Like
Yeah.
they're like, what if they fight our staff? Are you going to teach them how to, hurt our staff and hurt the foster parents or what? And those are good logical questions that were answered. But the proof is in the pudding, and I know how much martial arts meant to me and how much it changed my life and how pivotal it was for me. Like you said, for you it was the discipline. You could see that,
Yes. Yes.
and the discipline that it has, the intrinsic motivation that it creates, is just bar none. Like you can't substitute it. It's just amazing.
Well,
And that feeling of,
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
sorry,
No, go ahead. Finish.
that feeling of confidence, that it instills when you start to become good at it. If it's forms, if it's competing, if it's just showing up to the dojo and doing whatever, that self confidence that you get, ah, priceless.
Well, I think that I think what a lot of our society does is we judge things as good or bad. You're either good or bad, and if you don't walk this line that they want you to do and get good grades, there's it wasn't that I was a bad child. It was just that I had stuff that I was going through. I had things, and I have a rebellious nature, and there's some people that are just like that. And you're kids, you're mischievous, and sometimes you need that structure
Mm.
because, as you said, intrinsic motivation is much greater than an extrinsic because it's not based on external reward. It's not based on the
Mm.
gold medal or this and that. It's based on, oh man, I really accomplished something, and you know what? It feels good, and it makes me feel like I know a little bit about myself, that I can do stuff. And I think that sometimes kids, especially born in bad areas, because I grew up in a bad area in Chicago, sometimes they're already cast as, well, you grew up here, so you're gonna be nothing, and that puts them. When you do something like martial arts, as you did, I think that gives them a little bit of a path to kind of say, hey, you know what, my path isn't laid out. I have a choice, and now I'm being given tools to learn how to do something differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's really important. We ignore our youth and we ignore our own ability to impact them in positive and good ways.
Yes.
I and unfortunately, suicide rates amongst teens are going up.
Yes.
For the last 5 years, they just keep ticking up and up and up. And COVID hasn't helped. Lockdowns hasn't helped. Um, not being able to socialize with friends hasn't helped. And then the really scary stat is kids are committing suicide at a younger age.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now you have 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds committing suicide. And you're like, what in the life of a 10-year-old or 11-year-old should put that much pressure on them to where they don't want to be on this planet?
Yes.
What,
Correct.
what and everyone failed. Everyone failed. From mom, dad, neighbor, grandma, grandpa, everyone failed. And that's just the hard truth. And I couldn't imagine losing a child or losing my granddaughter. But the truth is, there's signs. It doesn't just pop in overnight. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to die.
Correct.
There's signs.
Absolutely, and there's a big contribution from social media, because social media, I gotta say, if I didn't have a business, and I would be on social media, because it is just toxic. It's a toxic environment. And now these young kids who have no life skills, who don't have anything developed yet, because they're only 10, 9 years old, 11 years old. I mean, what did we know? I mean, we were still kicking out rocks and cans and riding our bikes back then.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have this added pressure of not only life, but now you have an image on social media, and how quickly someone can trash you and take you down, and without any consequence, for most people. And it's just sad, the pressure, and life is already hard enough as it is, and then you add things upon it that are senseless, that just make, and it is. When I read that stat and I started seeing that number drop, that more kids at a younger age were committed, I was like, oh, this is horrible, because I know what it felt like to feel that hopeless, where
Sad.
you know.
Yeah, that's it's just sad. It's just sad. We have to teach our kids. Look, social media is not going anywhere. Technology is not going anywhere. These things are just going to get worse. That's just we're not going to change that. If we had a magic wand, you and I would wave our magic wands together, and we would change that, and then that's it. But that's just not going to happen. So these things aren't going anywhere. So what do? You go, well, I got to teach my kids how to be more resilient,
Yes.
right? You got to teach them how to say, this is not real life. It's social media. If somebody says my TikTok dancing sucks, it's okay. And you know what? Maybe it does suck.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not cut out to be a dancer.
Yeah.
Okay. But we have to teach them these, because it's not innate. We're not born with these skills.
Yeah.
Not a single one of us are born with these skills. So, if it's not innate behavior or innate knowledge, what is it? Learned behavior, right?
Yeah.
Learned knowledge. So you got to teach them this stuff.
But I agree with you 100% on that, because as you said earlier, you have to try different things. And you know what? You're not going to be good at a lot of things. You may be great at a lot of things, but you know what? I'm an athlete, and I'm good at softball and a lot of things. But you pick up a golf club, I can't play golf to save my life, but I can hit a ball to the fence, over the fence, or back before I got injured and sick. But I mean, and like, I tried a million different jobs, a million different things, and one of the greatest things was trying it. Hey, I didn't do well at a bunch of stuff, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure. That doesn't mean I'm a loser. That doesn't mean these things. But yes, we have to teach kids and ourselves that, yes, we're to try something. That's the gift right there. Hey, I went out and tried it. I may not be good at it, but at least I tried it. And then you move on to the next thing, because how are you going to find out who you are if you don't try anything?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to learn how to fail, and you got to want to fail. Like, you got to what? I got. I got to the point where I was so good in competing, right, in martial arts, to where I went through a 2 year stretch of just tournament after tournament. I'm just sweeping the black belt division. Then they started the MMA thing, and I was just kicking people's butt with that. And I wanted to lose. Why? Why did I want to lose? Well, because I knew another trophy wasn't going to do anything for me.
Yeah.
But the experience that I gained from losing, oh, this guy did this technique and he choked me out. Oh, I want to go to the dojo and try it. I was a kid in a candy store, like, oh, I want, yeah. How did you do? I'd be having conversations with people that just kicked my butt, and I'm like, show me that arm lock, show me that choke. Because I just wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. Failure is whatever you make it. It's what it could be, a daunting, like, a big thing, but you don't have to let it be.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't even like the word failure, because it makes it sound like you didn't do something well. And I mean, the greatest successful people in the world don't do something well a million times before I mean, I didn't just pick up a softball bat, or I didn't even just do this radio show. The very first time I did this, I meditated, and I was shown that I was going to start doing a radio show, and I'm like, what do I know about? And the very first interview I did, I spoke so fast and without taking a breath. I was just, and my co-host was like, Miss Raina, take a breath. And it was, I went back and I listened, but you know what? But it taught me, like you said, and I think that's great. Dave, thank you so much for being here on the show today. I can't say enough. I really enjoyed having you. I hope to have you on in the future. And is there anything before we wrap up? Is there anything, any information or anything you want to give to our listeners?
Oh boy. So this is the part where I have to sell myself, huh?
Yes. Or give out your contact information.
Yeah. Follow me on social media. It's Dave in Greece on Facebook. It's Dave in Greece on Instagram. Unlimited Potential Network Academy on Facebook and on Instagram. My website, if you're looking for the teen mentoring program, it's www.teenmentoring, TEENMENTORING.world. If you're looking for the book, it's whyme.world, so www.whyme.world. And I'm ending my URLs, my websites in world because I want to impact the entire world. My goal for 2021, right, is to positively impact 1 million people this year.
Wow, that's good.
That's it. That's my goal.
That'd be amazing.
I want to impact 1 million people. So, yeah, thank you. Well, you're helping me do that. I already hit 1 million right now, but just because I'm on your show, 1 million, boom.
Absolutely.
You facilitated that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, Ms. Raina. I appreciate you.
20% will be in the mail, right?
Done.
All right, I'm just kidding.
Done. There's no money. There's no money to it.
I know, right? Dave, thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm good without the money. My pleasure.
All right, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Raina. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Don't forget to follow us on our social media on Facebook at facebook.com/Transcendental Transformation. Our YouTube is Transcendental Transformation Radio Show. Visit my website, soulandspiritguide.com. and sign up for the newsletter so that you can receive special hidden shows and VIP access and special guest offers. And if you have any questions, email me at transcendentaltransformations@gmail.com. And always remember to believe in yourself, and it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.